My strap line is always transformational leader. My goal in life is to transform people, products, and services. So how did I get to transform people, products, and services? I studied mechatronics, that's mechanical, electrical, computer design, engineering. I learned how to work with systems. You learn how things are connected to one another. And all engineers, by virtue, are like psychologists. You ask yourself the fundamental question, how can you improve the human experience? The chair you're sitting on, someone had to engineer it based on what's going to be comfortable for people to sit on that chair, the height, the cushioning, all of that. It's engineering that we have. So at heart, I'm an engineer, but I like the psychology part of it. So I diverted into mental health nursing. So I was still a practicing nurse. I've been a practicing nurse since 2003. So it's over 20 years as a practicing nurse. You can engineer human beings is a perfect use case for engineering. Psychological, emotional, spiritual, physical, the whole being. Then healthcare services are becoming digitized. They asked me to help lead on some of those big ticket programs to then digitize the health service, while still maintain my clinical side, and that was all transformational change management processes. At the time, it was very much top down, meaning change is going to happen to you anyway. We don't really care what you think or feel, it's coming. But that grated my philosophical underpinning of what change is about. How can we create an environment where people feel listened to, where you can create a situation where there's change by choice. So that's how I lead transformation. So clinically, I still am a nurse, and then obviously I was working in transformational programs for software companies that want to sell into the NHS.
Give us a list of companies you've worked with.
I've done consultancy work with Servalec, a lot of the big companies that sell directly into the NHS. I worked for them in various consultancy positions, but basically helping them come with a unified offering to then sell. So because I'm a clinician, I interface both the clinical side and the tech, because I speak both. So I'm like collagen between two bones.
You've seen a lot of change, of course.
A lot of change, yeah.
For the past few years, I know you've been attending quite a few Inspired Business Media Summits, and you've presented, so thank you very much for helping.
That's okay.
And you've even featured in 1 or 2 magazines.
Oh, yes, indeed.
But you've got a book coming out. What is this book?
Absolutely, and I think that's right on cue. And thank you very much for the plug in your CMO Inspired, the voice of B2B Marketing Leadership magazine. So I'm about to launch a book called The AI Leverage, Finding Purpose, Resilience and Success.
And who should be reading this book?
This book, The AI Leverage, is written for anybody who's at the intersection in their life and they're just thinking, what's next? Where can I add value? What is life all about? It's a motivational book born out of using technology to 10x your capabilities. This is about being able to clearly articulate your value proposition. So you take a look at what matters to you the most, whether it's your family, whether it's career progression. I have this dream that if everybody on earth was an adult, there should be 8 billion companies, not people working for companies, because AI gives you capabilities. The premise of the book is first starting off with your problem, challenge or need, and being able to clearly identify it. People not being able to clearly identify the problem, because the problem, if you write it well, should be the most attractive thing you ever write in your life. People don't achieve success in life because they have a problem statement that's long and convoluted. You ask a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? They say, I want to be X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. By the time they finish, they've introduced so many failing points there because it's too long and convoluted. So within the book, we've got what's called the 360-degree covenant character rule. So you should be able to crystallize your problem, challenge or need, in 360 characters or less.
Do you think what you're talking about could be taught to the younger generations. So when you look at the younger generations, which are now distracted by computer games, too much social media, schools, colleges, universities, they're not teaching a lot of entrepreneurship and things like how to program your brain or rewire your brain to think about focus and how to value your time. Is there a gap there where it can be taught in a way to the next generations so that we're looking at 20 years down the line, the world could be a better place?
Absolutely, and that is the destination, to make the world a better place, right? So what's happening? Meta skills are being taught in most private schools. If you look at the fee-paying schools where parents spend a lot of money, they're teaching children meta skills, and they're really pushing children meta skills. AI is not coming to dehumanize you. AI amplifies the human being. If you're going to look at what differentiates you on the marketplace, is how human are you? Because everyone's going to be more generic. 56% of the whole entire internet right now, at the time of this recording, is generated by AI. So if you meet somebody that's human, you're more likely going to use that as your USP to engage and get more opportunities. So what skills am I talking about? These are meta skills. Okay. These used to be soft skills. Like me and you sit down here, we got on from the first day I met you to this very day.
Yeah, we got eye contact, we smile,
Exactly.
body language.
Creating connections.
Mirroring each other.
All of those things, these were soft skills, but actually these are essential skills. Being able to connect to human to human is a skill, is an art. It's a meta skill, in fact. So teaching people how to network. You know, I was talking to Lee earlier. He said your network is your net worth. So if you're going to employ somebody in your organization and you go on their LinkedIn profile, for example, this person has, say, 10,000 connections. You will pretty much be confident that this person knows how to network.
Yeah.
Because LinkedIn is a more trusted business social media platform. It's social proof that this person can network. And you might be thinking as a business leader, if I employ this person with 10,000 followers, that's 10,000 more impressions I have on my business by employing this individual. So being able to network in itself is a meta skill. Being able to have emotional intelligence, be able to dream, think big, act now, be able to dream about something, in your mind. I'm sure that this book was at one point was conceptualized in your mind, but you went through the process of birthing it, making it a reality.
You gotta have a vision.
Vision is one thing. Can you turn your vision into reality?
Implementation.
There you go.
Ideas. Everybody's got ideas, but can you put your ideas into practice?
Absolutely.
Implement and deliver.
No matter how many people sleep in your bed, you dream alone. Everybody has ideas.
I've got a saying, it's get shit done.
When people say your name, when people say my name, you know it comes with movement. So my name is literally a verb. I'm a doing person. In the age of AI, where you can spin up businesses quickly, like in minutes, you can spin up a business, you can test out a theory in a day. Say, that's for you, that's not for you. Everything starts with the action. Yeah, the action, and even the act. If you take the word action, you've got act in it. So how are you navigating the world that you're in? Are you a bit part player in the scenes? Are you the hero in your own story?
Yeah, everybody doesn't need to be a hero. We need a bit of everything.
You need to play a part, but what part you play? In gaming, they've got this thing where you got non-player characters that go around in this virtual world, but they don't do anything. They're just there for the scenery. They're in the game, but they're there for the scenery. I'm talking about in this book, The AI Leverage, it's about how can you take back that control? How can you live a life with purpose? Not only bringing people together, is combining different things to make new arts. I'm trying to get people to understand not to be a one-trick pony. Those days of having one skill, and I was fortunate enough to study mechatronics, which is mechanical, electrical, computer design, engineering. So I don't have one doctorate in any engineering discipline. And if you smash them together, you get new technology. That's why you got the cameras, that's why you got a lift, you got car. Because at one stage, mechanical engineers didn't speak to electrical engineers. That's why I'm trying to draw out of people that any experience that you have is your USP. What you need to do is get that experience and smash it with something else to create a new atom, to create a new thing that people have not experienced before. We can add a lot of value in this space if we think like that.
You've been to many of the events here in London. Tell us a few good things which you've experienced at one of our events, Doug.
Okay. And this is a story that Lee knows intimately. It was one of the earliest events, and this is why it's so good working with you guys, because you've seen my growth, you've seen my journey. You've seen me before the full grey, yeah? But it was just 1 or 2, now it's...
I'm catching you.
You're catching me up?
I'm catching you up.
Okay, cool. Lee asked me to moderate an event. I think it was around cybersecurity. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. Because I was in that yes phase of my life. I say yes to everything. So I get my name out there, get some exposure. So this was a cutting edge event with very senior people talking about cybersecurity. And it was front and center with what was happening across the NHS with cyber attacks. I started to procrastinate and I started to have imposter syndrome. It was really, really bad. I was like,
we all get imposter syndrome. Last night on the stage, I got imposter syndrome because I do not think I'm a good speaker.
Yeah.
But then everybody compliments me and tells me how good I am.
Yeah.
But I get butterflies, I'm nervous,
Yeah.
I don't want to slur my words.
Yeah.
So we all get there.
And this story is in the book, by the way. So I was nervous. The day of the event, I met up with the delegates, the other speakers, so I could work out how can I moderate this discussion. So I met up with them, and they're all nice, but one of them was a bit frosty and guarded, so I didn't know how to play it. I didn't want to be out of my depth. We had the session just after lunch. I didn't eat at lunch, getting my breathing right, doing some mantras, I can do it, all of that kind of stuff. I can teach people, but when you're fully in that anxiety-driven state, it's hard. I've done the moderation. We had senior leaders on stage, 4 of them, done our stuff, and then the feedback was good. People coming to the stage said, Doug, you've done a good job, and blah, 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 blah. When I was driving home, Lee texted me. He had left voice messages for me and left me a message on LinkedIn, in fact. So I got back to him. He's like, what's up? He goes, Douglas, you've done a great job. One of the guys that we had on the panel was a fraudster. He was an imposter. He had not worked for...
I remember this.
You remember that?
Yeah.
He had not worked for the organization he has said he had worked for. And that was a light bulb moment. I said, if I ever write a book, that story has to be there, because there's me thinking, right, I'm the imposter. But now I'm on stage, there was actually a real imposter.
To set the scene for the camera, so we had an IT security event, and there was a speaker on stage pretending he worked for a So they contacted us and seeing if we could do a reference to the police to report him. Crazy. He was on stage, sat, talking about cybersecurity to the full audience with a fake name.
Well, the moral of that is you don't know what other people are experiencing. So yes, I was experiencing acute imposter syndrome, but there was somebody on that stage, who had gone through the vetting process.
What was he getting out of it?
I do not know, but what I got out of it is far better, because anytime I get butterflies, anytime I'm on stage, I've got now an example that helps me.
One for the history books for us.
Absolutely.